Hey guys, it's SWRUManga here. As always, I am your host, Swarukan, and joining me here today for our fifth podcast, I believe. The second of this new shorter version, shorter format. Joining me here today again, as always, is the wonderful Swaru-chan. So, we have had... What kind of a week have we had? It's been kind of busy.
It's been
busy. But even with the busyness, we have got a fantastic new blog up. So hopefully you guys saw that yesterday. It's about the characters, the main cast.
We have finally reviewed the main cast for Flare Project.
So hopefully you guys have a read of that. If you want to get ahead of our conversation, go read it now. And then, come back to the video. Whatever. We're going to be going through most of it anyway now.
You'll put a link in the doobly-doo.
So, as kind of indicated, that'll be our main topic for today. And after that, maybe I'll have a little bit of a talk about a movie that I watched that Swaru-chan did not watch. That I studied, in fact.
I don't know. Military combat movies aren't really my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just kind of go, and I don't watch it.
Yeah, it was semi-fun. Anyway, that's kind of our little docket for this main podcast. And then, as we did last week, we will be having 2 other sections released in the kind of middling of the week ahead. So what we did was we released videos on Tuesday and Thursday. So depending on how much we have to talk about, we might go for Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or once again Tuesday, Thursday. We will see. As always, you can catch all the updates of when our videos and blogs go live on our Twitter and of course our Facebook. So, getting on with the show then. So, Swaru-chan, the blog.
Yes, the blog. How was it? What did you think of it?
I enjoyed it, as always.
Yeah.
I think it's very nice. It's very cool. As we kind of mentioned...
I noticed that whilst you were editing, you put in your own little comments.
Yes. Because,
we need time to discuss this.
And who my favourite character is...
I'm not surprised it's Remy. Because she's the lead.
It
It makes sense.
She's fun.
You are an 8-year-old child at heart, so of course you're going to like the lead.
She's fun. So as we've kind of indicated, we finally have released our main cast of characters. Kind of a top line level of them, like a paragraph each. Don't want to give all of their personality away, but
Yeah, you have the general idea of what their impressions are going to be like, or because you can never create a character who seems really human. You can only create characters who feel human, and there's always going to be a dominant impression that you're left with. Yeah.
So a really interesting quote I heard from a video before was characters in stories are better than humans. They're larger than life.
Yeah.
So, to unveil it a little bit is to make someone really human, you have to make them very indecisive, typically. They have to and a lot in terms of speech and dialogue.
Yeah, you don't do that in books.
And you don't do that in books, or, people don't necessarily always make the best decision because... There's just extenuating circumstances, like perhaps the most heroic thing for a person in real life to do is to quit their day job and chase after that dream. But there's extenuating circumstances of,
you
say... You
can't realistically do that, of course.
Yeah. So, fear holds us back. And we look to fiction as a way to see the better version of ourselves, or a version of ourselves we would like to be. Or see a journey that we would like to go through ourselves. So that's why in the previous podcasts I've said how it's kind of important to have a good moral or a good goal for a hero in a story to have, because it can affect people's views on how they act. So yeah, that's kind of peeling back the curtains a little bit. Focusing back down, our actual cast in Flare Project. So yeah, we have how many main characters?
5.
We have 5. So
5's a good number. Good number.
So names first of all.
We actually thought of names. Can we just pat ourselves on the back for that?
We finally did it.
We actually named people.
Yeah, took a long time, but we finally did it.
Yeah.
So running through the names, we have Remy, who is
our lead.
We have Avidus,
who he's the tactician. He's the tactician.
We have Suren.
Suren, who what's Suren's like position in the?
He's multitask.
He's just Suren. Yeah. Suren, and we also have Micaiah. I'm still a bit iffy about that name.
I really like the name Micaiah, and we have Corin.
Yes, and we have Corin.
Who so basically part of the team is there's tactician assigned to all teams, and generally there might be a different person as a leader of the team, or not, depending. And then the rest are kind of on flexi roles.
Do what tactician / leader says.
So let's get started. Remy, tell us a little bit about Remy.
She's your favourite character, so I think you should describe her.
I think my views would be too biased and way too favourable. So go on.
Would it? No. Okay.
Yeah, go for it.
So Remy is our lead. She is 17, lives with her father.
So her father... Sorry about that. Her father was a soldier. And a flare. And he survived. And they're still living together.
Yeah, he's retired now.
So typically in the village, you don't really move out of your parents' house, typically. It's a small village, there's no real concept of moving out of the family.
Spreading your wings.
Yeah, because it's so closely knit. Typically people live with their families. They don't really have the resources to just willy-nilly build more houses. Something political, blah blah blah, about current climate of far too many people, overpopulation, housing, etc.
something, moving on.
Something, politics. Anyway.
So she is a very confident, outgoing and boisterous person. So I can very much imagine her going, "Wahaha! Look at what I have done," and then, like doing like training or something. And then
she's like super confident, super loud. Isn't afraid to like shout to the world about what she's accomplished. She wants people to know,
or what she wants to accomplish. Yeah,
she's very honest in that way, and kind of all her actions are pretty honest in the sense that she just like has her eyes focused on one task and she goes hard at it.
And she has a goal and she's going for it basically.
In a sense, kind of a one-track mind almost.
Kind of, yes.
Yeah.
So she doesn't really have any sort of defense mechanisms or walls. She's just like deal with it as it comes.
Yeah, she's very like not nuanced in her actions. She's just like, I am gonna do what I think is right. I'm just gonna go for it.
Yeah, and this is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm doing. There's no hidden agenda for anything. It's literally just, I'm doing this for this reason. Everybody knows it. That kind of personality.
Yeah. She is aiming to take on more leadership positions. She really wants to ascend to the top. She wants to gain power.
Yeah. She wants to be the best flare in the village.
Yeah. She's definitely the type to act first and then think later.
Yeah.
And she's open to learning from her mistakes. But,
yeah, she's not like
that doesn't keep her down.
She might be. Would you say she's stubborn at all?
She's headstrong.
Yeah, she's headstrong, but I wouldn't say she's stubborn. Yeah.
Yeah, not
headstrong,
like
but
frustratingly like stubborn.
Yeah, she's not hard-headed.
Yeah,
I think it's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah. So as the main character, she's gonna be quite integral to the story.
Of course.
She's quite fun, and hopefully you guys will really look forward to what she goes through.
Yeah, I mean, as the main character, she's probably the one who's going to go through the most growth.
Yeah.
So.
Definitely. Next up we have Vidas.
Yeah.
Which you pronounce Vidas?
No, I say Vidas.
Vidas, okay.
Why would I say Vidas? Ew. Ew. No. Vidas.
Yep. He is, well, we've said he's 17, but I think he's slightly not sure about it, but he's just going with 17 because in his previous experiences outside, they didn't really have the time to nail down calendar days and ages and years.
Yeah, so
he's roughly 17.
Yeah, he's just going with it. But yeah, he's a very logical, analytical person, but he's got an emotional streak because he has a tendency to overthink things and assign a lot of meaning to things that don't necessarily have that amount or that specific meaning.
Yep,
so in that way he's a bit of a contradiction.
So he's quite interesting in the sense that he's one of the few characters who has come from outside of the village. So he is not one of the original villagers. He has come from outside, which may mean he's quite interesting to other people in the cast.
He was rescued.
He was rescued. By the village.
Mother.
He and his mother. Yep. He is a very talented tactician. He's like quite quick to think of kind of options for the team to take, but there's an aspect about him which makes him reluctant to make super firm absolute decisions on the exact perfect, like the super ideal tactic that they're going to use for a particular mission. So he typically presents options
and then kind of leaves it to other people to call the shots.
Interestingly enough for him, very lucky guy, he is in a relationship with Corin, who we'll talk about in a bit. Corin's a very special girl.
What was that meant to, wait, what was that little inflection in your voice as you said special girl? Excuse me.
She's fun. She's fiery. She's like,
yeah, she's feisty. I like it. I mean, in many ways she's a lot like Remy. Because she will bluntly state things as they are. She will not hold back. She doesn't hold back her emotions. You know where you stand with her at all times and what she means when she does something. Same as Remy. But I would say where they differ is Corin, I would say, is more of a cynic when she looks at the world, maybe. Yeah, she's more of a cynic, whilst Remy has that innocent, yeah, I'm gonna do that kind of thing, whilst Corin will take a more realistic view.
Yeah, and Corin's built up this kind of her forwardness comes out of her being judged by others quite a bit, and now she's kind of on the offensive because she's always been on the defensive. She's always been like criticized for kind of her some of her views and opinions, and in a way she's like learned some defense mechanisms against that. So in some ways she's like quite defensive, or she goes on the offensive straight away. Like, if you try to criticize her, maybe she'll just straight up ask you like, why are you asking that?
Yeah, she can.
Why are you asking that?
She can be quite confrontational. I can do it. Give me 2 seconds. Confrontational. There, I did it. Yeah. Confrontational. But I think, I think she's kind of built up that like image of herself that she'd rather be disliked by someone than be quiet about things and just let them slide.
So she's not afraid to, get into a shouting match. She is Yeah, don't piss her off, basically.
And I mean, because she's like so... would you say Corin is headstrong? In a way,
Corin's also quite headstrong.
She is quite headstrong.
But she does... She's determined. She's slightly less ignorant about people's views. So she knows...
Yeah, so she knows when to hold back and when to...
Yeah.
So she has a more of a... I don't know. I'd say maybe Corin is a bit more diplomatic's the wrong word.
She's a bit more mature.
Yeah.
Than Remy. Remy's very innocent and naive, whilst Corin's a bit more...
I would say the main difference here is that Remy is very internally focused, that she thinks very much from her own point of view, her own feelings, her own judgment and stuff. Corin is a bit more of a mix, so she is more aware of those around her than Remy is.
Yeah.
And I think that's what sort of grounds her sort of actions when it comes to talking about things.
Yeah. Her kind of motivation or like goal in life is she really wants to explore, venture outside the village. Her kind of thoughts about the village are that they've always been on the defensive against these monsters, these raids, and she firmly believes that it's not a sustainable future.
I mean, because we say one thing about how the village is they're not literate because they don't have time to think about that.
Yeah.
And thinking if they are always on the defensive, that will always be the case. They're never going to progress onto a point where they're safe enough or it's peaceful enough for them to actually focus on secondary things like education and pursuing other things and so on.
Yeah, and that's the setup we have, and Corin's just really focused on just having a safe place for them. And if culture does develop, it does develop, but it's super just focused on we need to find a better place to live because people are dying. We are losing people consistently. This is no way to live.
Yeah, so that's her reason.
Mikaya's more focused on the culture side.
On the culture side. Yeah, but so this is part of her reasoning. She's focused on the But moving on. Mikaya's more on the culture and other stuff.
Growing, Mikaya's very much, he wants not just for them to survive, but for them to thrive.
Yeah.
And build up stories and build up a history.
Yeah.
For the village. Yes. Corin obviously is very interested in Vitus. Because
he's from outside.
He's come from outside. So, she was immediately interested in kind of his story, where he came from, and he's kind of enjoyed kind of telling the stories, but it's also kind of it brings out some dark feelings in him about it's
what his past was like, and which was of course difficult.
And so, but she still pesters him, really enjoys finding out what is out there. And this just boosts her resolve to want to check out what's out there. Yes. Next up is Suren. So Suren, he's pretty talented. He isn't the most emotionally open of characters, so he's very different to Remy and Corin. He's very kind of reserved in a way, kind of holds back his true emotions a little bit. He is a talented flair, but he isn't fully set on progressing in terms of field operations. I mean,
so of course he's finishes his duties and he takes that seriously and he does what he needs to do to protect the village, but he's not really interested in sort of progressing or getting stronger or any kind of title or whatever. He just does what he needs to do because he has a separate goal in mind, and he's just single-mindedly following just that.
And this second goal is he wants to join the top alchemists in the tower, so the dilapidated castle. It is his like life goal basically to get to a high level alchemist in that tower. He's pretty perceptive to kind of how other people act, what other people's personalities are, the goings on, but he doesn't really utilize his perception to influence anything or do anything. He is purely focused on learning more alchemy, but of course can't learn the alchemy if the village is destroyed. So he has vested interest, obviously, to be a flare and a strong flare, but focus on the alchemy side of it.
Yeah, so in a way he's kind of had to divide his attentions.
Yeah.
Or else he'd be pretty much just following that one thing. And I don't know, I think in a way it kind of makes him a little bit immature, because he's picked this one thing and everything he does is focused around that. His resolve to become a flare wasn't because he wants to become a flare, it's because he had to do it for this other thing. He's friends with the other flares because he needs to get along with his teammates to do his job as a flare, so that he can then focus on this other thing. Yeah,
he hasn't fully kind of internalized or grown to kind of...
He hasn't really rounded himself off
in terms of like the other things he needs to do. So, you know, he doesn't really mix super well with the villagers or the other flares. He just does what's needed and then just goes back and focuses on the alchemy.
Yeah, I mean he tries not to make any waves. Like, because he's doing his thing. So it's kind of just like,
he has no interest in making waves.
Yeah, so, yeah. So his entire thing is focus, alchemy, I am going to do this. That kind of thing.
And lastly but not least, it is Micaiah.
He's adorable. I mean, the image I have of Micaiah in my head is... Like,
he's cute.
He's cute.
He's cute.
And by cute, I mean like cute, not the handsome cute. Just really cute.
Okay. I'd agree. He's cute. Yeah. He is, as we kind of mentioned previously, focused on the culture of the village. He's very passionate about kind of listening to people's stories and kind of noting the stories down. And he quite enjoys telling these stories to other people in the village, spreading the stories of heroic deeds, of like the flares going out and fighting, or you know, if flares pass away, for example. He feels it's extremely important to have a record of that
to pass on to the next generation.
To pass on, so no one's forgotten.
Yeah,
that's his real passion. He's okay as a flare. It's pretty average, maybe a little bit below average. He is very, very kind of empathetic with people.
Yeah.
He gets along very easily. He loves to listen to people. Yeah. Finds interest in kind of everything that people say. Finds kind of like, oh, that's really cool. Or like, how did you feel?
Yeah, so if we were to like look at each character and look at their sort of point, well, I forget what it's called, locus of something.
I have no idea.
So whether they're internally focused or externally focused. Okay. Remy is very internally focused. It's all about her. And then Micaiah, I would say, is very externally focused because he looks to other people's feelings, how they're feeling, and that influences how he feels.
Yeah.
So yes, I'd say Micaiah is like Remy's opposite in that sense. And so because he's so empathetic and so his focus is so externally focused, he's very easily moved or very easily inspired or very easily depressed. But because of that, it's also very easy for him to kind of jump between emotions, I'd say, maybe. Not jump, but like...
Transition.
Transition between feelings.
Yeah.
He feels all the feels.
He gets like inspired by people's stories, recollections of what they've done, because like what a person experiences is the most interesting thing to him. So along with this, he has also become kind of the village storyteller. He didn't especially plan for it, but
it just kind of happened because he enjoys it.
So yeah, he often sits down, gathers people around, perhaps during dinners when the village comes together to eat.
The big feasts.
He will tell a story. He also takes part in kind of the battle reenactments, perhaps as a narrator. And yeah,
I mean, I can imagine him kind of getting like the village kids to kind of gather up, and then like him giving them instructions, and they do it, and then they present it to the village in for a thing.
Yeah. So what he really hates the idea of, obviously, like the village being wiped out, but other than that, it's having all of their kind of struggles and fights and all of that heroic defense against the monsters being forgotten.
I'd say he also has this outlook that yes, times are hard and they're in this precarious situation, but he feels that but we are still alive right now, so we should live. So that's why he tells the stories, because in that moment, it's if we're always despairing about things, then what's even the point about us trying to live on then? Because we're always despairing. So he wants there to be those moments of,
Yeah, he wants to bring people out of just like pure depression.
Yeah.
Of like both passing down stories, but also like making people happier.
Yeah.
He wants to create levity, a little bit of joy in the village. And
and it essentially lends towards the hope.
Yeah.
So hope being a very big part of these people's lives. It lends towards to that.
Yeah. He's so passionate about this that he talks to the village leader, the Flare founder. And we'll talk about him on a later date.
Yes, when we introduce the sort of main side characters.
Yeah, and what he asks the Flare founder to kind of teach him how to become literate, read and write, so he can properly document down all the stories in writing. And he hopes that one day the village will be safe enough that all these stories have no like danger of being lost, and that they can help pass the stories on as well, and in a sense build up the culture of the village.
Yep.
Yeah. And who is your favourite character?
I mean, I've already said it. It's Corin.
It's Corin. And why do you like Corin the most?
Because she's, as I said in the blog post, she's fiery and honest and determined, and because she's very capable of looking after herself. She doesn't very often way too often in anime in manga you're introduced to a female character who's meant to be really strong, who's meant to be all cool, and they'll have like a badass introduction and everything, and 2 episodes later they become damsels in distress who are unable to display any of that previous fire that they had before, where they're like, "Ha, bitch, I'll take care of you," or whatever. They're just crying so that the main guy can come and save them. And Corin has absolutely no air of that. And yes, so she can very well take care of herself, and I love that.
And even more so, like you mentioned, the guy, she is in a relationship.
Yeah,
but she is like quite dominant in the relationship.
Yes.
She is
Yeah, she's quite... Yeah, well, I mean, her entire sort of confrontational nature kind of lends itself to that.
Yeah, she's like... She wouldn't back down from him, from Vidas.
And the thing is, what's special about... in this case is that, yes, she's in a relationship with Vidas, but she's not defined by him.
in no way
she
allow herself to be defined just by a relationship.
Yeah, she is her own self. She has her own goals, her own conflicts, her own fears and whatever, and Vitus just happens to be a part of her life that she cares about a lot, but it's not who she is. It's a part of who she is. And I think manga and anime need more female characters like that.
Yeah, because there's so many animes or manga where like the girl is like, this is the girlfriend. She's like defined by the relationship, and she's just nice and really likes the guy, and all of her aspirations are about love, marriage, and the guy.
Yes, I mean with harems, it's essentially
Obviously,
a case of who's gonna get the guy's D.
Yeah. So yeah,
I mean, there's another anime that actually does this. You haven't seen it, but it's Ore Monogatari. So it is, of course, a romance anime, and of course there are a couple, but each of them have their own struggles. So they're not defined by each other. They care about each other deeply, and they're very close and cute and everything. But she has her own dream, and he has his own life. I mean, they kind of make a point of how he doesn't have a dream, but he never assigns it to that, oh, I'm going to protect her, that's my life. It's never that.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really nicely done. They're two individuals with their own lives and personalities, and who happen to be in a relationship, which is very meaningful to them. And to me, that's beautiful.
And I think we've made a conscious decision that this couple isn't just like cutesy.
Yeah, I mean, they don't really have time to be cutesy.
They don't have time, nor do the personalities lend towards just like a cute, cutesy, nice relationship.
Yeah,
like if they need to butt heads, they butt heads. It's not just like, oh, it's okay, or like, yeah, let's just agree to disagree, or like keep the peace. Like Corin won't take shit.
No, Corin's not the type to just kind of be like, okay, you know what, I don't want to have a fight, so I'm not going to bring this up. She will bring it up.
She'll bring it up, and like, let's do it, let's fight. Get it out in the open.
She'd rather hash something out and make it actually come to an end.
Yeah.
Because that's better than, kind of letting things fester away until it kind of comes up later at some point, and you have... As
a, like, dramatic moment of just, like... Well,
avoidable confrontation.
Yeah, it's like, why didn't you just say that instead of letting it affect how you act in a crucial plot point moment?
No.
I hate that.
Yeah, it feels very contrived when that happens.
Yeah. So yeah, she's just super honest. In a sense, this is quite a human relationship. It's very believable, and it's not just like,
And Vitus with his overthinking and assigning all kinds of meanings to everything doesn't really lend itself to, oh, can I do this? Is this cute enough? Can I I feel like if he wanted to be romantic, he'd never physically be able to do it because he'd overthink it so much in his head.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a pretty... Don't expect it to be a fluffy, nice relationship.
I mean, we're not really going to focus on the romance much anyway. It's there as a thing, and it will be something that has existed within the world, within the characters, but it's not something we're going to focus on.
Yeah, changes will happen, and it will be pretty interesting. So hopefully that tantalizes you guys a little bit. Anything else?
You mentioned that Remy is your favorite character, and I know I threw you under the bus and said it's because you're an 8-year-old and you like lead characters. But honestly speaking, serious time. Why is Remy your favorite?
Oh, why is Remy my favorite? She is, once again, I really like how honest she is. In a way, I kind of envy her honesty, because living in real life is like, you can't. If you work a job, for example, you can't always be honest in the ways you feel, in the way you interact with people who may outrank you in terms of positions. And it's just refreshing to have a person who just kind of says it, shouts it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I really respect that about her. I love the fact that she doesn't give a shit. But I also really, really am fond of her being able to learn from her mistakes. Yeah, she's a bit headstrong, which I feel like sometimes I get a little bit too focused and hung up on stuff as well. Yeah. And she goes through a lot. So I can't help it, basically. Yeah. She's just like, yeah. Really fun. She goes through a lot. And that's pretty much all I can say, I think.
So basically, pretty much the same reasons why I like Corin, plus she's sympathetic to you.
Yes. Yeah. I think she will be a very fun person to follow in the story. And yeah, a lot's gonna happen. To put it gently.
You just calm yourself on the lot's gonna happen. You've said it like 5 times.
I know, I'm so excited to write out those scenes. So yeah, hopefully you guys are excited as well. For now, should we kind of call it done for our first kind of segment? Once again, we're keeping it short and sweet rather than waffling on.
Super long.
So yeah, we're about 7 minutes in. So for now, should we cut to a little bit of a break?
Sounds good.
Cool. See you guys after the break. Matane. Hey guys, welcome back after the break. We are refreshed, but kind of hungry. So, what to talk about? I decided, with the characters that we created, that we talked about in the last segment, to kind of do a little bit of analysis on them, see kind of on the spectrum of where they fit. So I kind of referred back to an old extra credits video. We love extra credits, they're awesome. And they kind of went over the Myers-Briggs psychology
personality test. Myers-Briggs.
So if you haven't heard of it, you might have heard some people talk about like how they're, say, like a ISNF or like a 4-letter acronym thing.
Yeah.
So a little bit of background on it is that you answer questions or kind of make a judgment from statements.
Yeah, you either say you rate how true a statement is for you, and the statement can be something like I like to have things pre-decided or something like that. And then you either say yes or no to that, and you get a score for each sort of category that's in the Myers-Briggs.
Yeah, you get rated as E or I, S or N, T or F, and finally J or P.
You might want to say what they stand for. So E is extroversion.
Extroversion versus introversion is the first question, really. Sensing or intuition is the second.
So sensing is like you decide things based on evidence, whilst intuition is like you kind of tend to go with gut feelings instead.
Decision making, so whether you are thinking or feeling.
Yep.
So that comes down to when you make a decision, do you want the logical truth or kind of the people communication side of things? Or
the way something is expressed to you, the way you feel about it, rather than, what's in front of you.
Rather than the cold hard truth. And then finally is J or P, sorry, which is judging or perceiving. So that is how you like to live your outer life and judging or perceiving others' behaviors. So judging would be a statement would be like, I like to have things decided for me. I appear to be task orientated, or I like to make lists of things to do. And perceiving is I like to stay open, respond to what happens, loose, casual, mix of work and play, burst of energy, approaching deadline inspires you to work harder.
Yeah. Now, of course, the Myers-Briggs is really, really popular, and it was based off of Carl Jung's personality traits thing. So he came up with the graph and everything, and then Myers and her daughter-in-law, they developed the test that then put so Carl Jung came up with the concept, but he didn't really come up with the personality test. They came up with the test. Yeah. With the test. But it's been criticized a lot because of its binary nature.
Basically, it's not fantastic.
Yeah, so you're either one or the other, but people aren't actually like that. They're in a spectrum of things. So psychologists today don't really use the Myers-Briggs as much. They use the Big Five instead.
Which we'll go on to in a little bit.
Yeah.
But for our characters, I've at least gone through the Myers-Briggs with them to ensure there's a bit of a spectrum. Because whilst you might enjoy a character, just imagine if the Naruto anime was only full of Naruto characters. That would be boring and stupid.
Yeah. You have a variety of characters who fill out different kinds of roles and
different walks of life, so you get conflict between them, and that's a key component of what keeps a story interesting. You might not consciously realize, but the reason why people are interested in stories is for the conflict. If everything just goes swimmingly, it's pretty boring. So having characters who are diverse and have some similarities in parts but have really different opinions regarding other things can kind of force them along a path, such as like good friends who then have a massive breakup because of a differing opinion, for example.
I mean, just look at Naruto and Sasuke.
Basically.
Really, because they're both similar in the sense that they both feel abandoned. They both feel lonely. They both feel like they're outside. One a bit more overtly so, but they're also massively different.
Yep.
And that's what kind of drives that
whole conflict between
them. Yeah.
So we really try to make sure that our characters are pretty diverse as well. In terms of actually the Big Five, could be quite interesting to go through that, but I don't know if that would suit for kind of like a short little segment like this for a podcast. But it could be interesting definitely to explore in a blog post in future.
Maybe. Okay. I'd probably have fun writing that. Yeah. I mean, many people probably don't know this, but I study psychology. So personality stuff is actually really interesting to look into.
So that'll be pretty cool and interesting, I think, for a blog post in the future. For now, if we go through the characters we've actually done, main characters.
So yes, what are they? You went through them.
Well, actually, take a guess.
Okay.
This will be a test for Sari-chan. I'm gonna scroll up a little bit more so she can't see. Okay. So let's start off with our main character, Remy.
Could you bring up that other page where it had? Okay, so Remy will be ENFP.
So you're saying she is extroverted. She works on intuition.
She's feeling.
So intuition means that they remember events by what they read between the lines about their meaning. Solve problems by leaping between different ideas and possibilities.
So, like, instead of looking at the granularity of things, they look at the whole picture and they try to find deeper meaning in things rather than taking things at face value, I'm guessing.
Okay. And then you said T.
Ooh, then she wouldn't be intuition, then she'd be sensing. She doesn't read deeper into things.
So you're ES.
ES.
T or F?
F.
I have a people or communications orientation. Harmony and nervous when it is missing. Make decisions with my heart.
Mm-hmm.
Tactful is more important than the cold truth.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes experienced by others as too idealistic, mushy, or indirect. Could be.
I would say she's an F.
And finally, J or P?
I'd say P.
Like to stay open, appear to be loose and casual.
Mm-hmm.
Approach work as play, work in bursts of energy, stimulated by an approaching deadline. Sometimes I stay open to new information so long I miss making decisions when they are needed. Okay. So I thought she was an ESNF. So correct. So we agree on the E.
Mm-hmm. We also agree on the S.
S.
Don't
N.
Oh, you did it wrong. It's supposed to be TR.
Oh, is it?
TRF and then J or P.
Oh. Whoops. Is it?
Yeah. ERI.
ERI.
SRN.
SRN.
TRF.
T or F.
And then JRP.
Great, fantastic. This is going swimmingly.
Do you want to redo the...
Forgive me, I was doing this on the train to work in the morning at about like 7:30, so I was very sleepy.
So you might want
I think the others are fine. Okay, let's give it a go.
I mean, I just saw the one for Suren.
God dang it! Okay, which ones did you not see?
The rest. I saw the one for Suren.
Okay, Suren. What do you think Suren is?
But I just saw the one you did for Suren.
What do you think? What do you think?
Oh, okay. Suren is definitely I.
Yeah.
He's definitely N.
Yeah.
He's definitely T.
Yep.
And I'd also say he's J.
Yep. Got it.
Yeah?
Yep.
Okay.
Micaiah?
Micaiah is E. I'd also say he's an N. But I'd say he's also FP.
I went for INFJ.
Micaiah is I?
Oh
no, wait. You're looking at Corin's one. Over there. Oh no, wait, that's not Corin. Oh, no.
That's Micaiah.
That's Micaiah, yes.
Is he extroverted or introverted?
Yeah, he can't be an I if he's, randomly telling stories.
Yeah, he's an E. He's an E.
And I'd say he's an N because he doesn't take things at face value.
So you said N?
Yes, N.
I agree.
Reading between lines, yes.
Yep.
And then
you said
F.
F, agreed.
And then I'd say J.
J.
No, did I say P? No, I said P.
Yeah.
But you said J.
I said J. No, I think he's more of a P.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Vidas.
Vidas is I, for sure.
Yeah.
I'd say he's an N because he reads way too much into something, so it's not really good intuition, but it is intuition. I would also say he is the thinking type, not the feeling type, and I would also say he's in J. It's judgment based.
Yeah, I agree mostly with that.
Oh, wait.
So I went ISFJ. So
Okay.
we agree.
Yes, we don't agree on the set.
S.
Yes.
S. Facts. Bottom line. Because it's a bit of a difficult one. He's like,
as I said,
this is the issue.
This is the issue.
It's a bit on the spectrum, so yeah.
You're not meant to be one or the other. You're on a spectrum, so.
Yeah. Because he is the tactician.
Mm-hmm,
So he does remember things well and looks at, the facts.
Yeah.
But he does also overthink. So yeah,
Read
it's
very
definitely
far.
a mix.
Yep.
And finally I said J,
Yes.
which we agree.
Yes.
Did we?
Yes.
Cool. And finally Corin.
Corin's an E.
Yep.
She is also an S. She doesn't read into things because she herself states everything plainly, so she kind of assumes others do the same, or like expects others to do the same, or she forces others to do the same. She is also, I'd say she's an F, she's not a thinker, she's a feeler. And I would also say she's a P.
Cool. So I went with ENFP. So F being the only difference. So let me have a look at that now.
Oh no, F isn't the only difference. The N is the only difference.
Sorry. I know. I'm hungry.
You need the blood glucose levels to increase.
So S. I went with S, right?
No, you went with N.
I went with N. Intuition.
I wouldn't say okay. She's again a spectrum thing.
Again, it's a spectrum thing.
Yeah.
Because she wants to be clean and cut, but
yeah,
it's also like it's through emotion.
Yeah. So I'd say she's more of an S than an N, but she's on that spectrum.
Yeah. Once again, toughie. So yeah, we have a nice spectrum, which is good. And later on, we will have a look at the Big Five, which is about openness to experience, conscientiousness, agreeableness, neuroticism.
Now, the idea behind the Big Five is that we're looking at really big, sort of main traits that people display, and that people are on a spectrum. For that one category. So for example, let's say conscientiousness. It could be that someone's a little bit conscientious, but they're not too conscientious. So they'd be on a rating rather than yes or a no.
Yeah, and they cut it up differently. So openness to experience is about kind of like appreciation for art, the more abstract stuff.
A bit
conscientiousness,
more creativity-based kind of thing.
Conscientiousness.
You can do it.
Is being organized and planning. Extroversion is obviously about, how open you are to other people.
What otakus generally tend not to be, apparently.
Agreeableness, which is compassion, kind of sympathy, empathy. And neuroticism is like the inwards looking about the kind of, if you tend to overthink.
If you're nervous or
if
you're
you
confident.
let your emotions kind of affect how you interact with people a lot. Yeah, that's just like a super brief overview of it. But we're going to leave the bulk of that to SWRUManga in her blog post. Not next week.
Not next week. Next week we have something special planned.
Yes, which SWRUManga is leading. So, she's managing the entire process.
It's going to be a tiny bit of a surprise.
So maybe the week after or the week after that, we'll see.
Yeah.
And yeah.
We can have a mini podcast on it.
Yeah, we can.
We can.
Anyway.
We'll see. We'll see what we feel like.
Yeah. Anyway, for now, this will do, I think, as a little kind of bit of insight background to how you might want to kind of analyze your characters that you've created and make sure you have a spectrum of characters. Because as a writer, as an author, or as a creator, you will inherently kind of affect the characters that you've created, and you might have a tendency to make characters quite similar.
Yeah.
Or just make a group who are just nice because you are a nice person, or want to write a story about nice people.
Nice people, yeah. And another thing that authors also tend to do is they tend to project a little bit of themselves into their characters. Yeah. And if you do that with every character and you make them all similar to yourself, they'll end up being the same.
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't put yourself into your characters. You can put one aspect of yourself into each character if you want, and that way you have a different, a varied cast. But yeah, be careful of that.
So yeah, when creating, Myers-Briggs can be a kind of small stepping stone to kind of help get the process started, and the Big Five can also help. What might also help is just to think about the people you interact with. What are they like? How about putting them on a Myers-Briggs scale? You can even ask them how they feel about it. Could be a fun activity for you guys anyway.
Yeah.
And might give you some interesting ideas. One thing I've always been told is that writers tend to become very introverted in their work, and they start stopping looking at the outside world and how other people interact. So if you're writing, keep an open mind, and go out once in a while.
Like one thing to do would be to just go to a coffee shop, sit near like the window, and just observe people. And it can feel a bit stalkerish, but it's okay. You're not recording them. They don't know you're looking. It's okay.
And kind of listen in on other people's conversations. What kind of weird quirks do people have? Do they tap their fingers? Do they bite the lip? I've seen some people kind of rub their hands when they're nervous. There's a whole wide spectrum, and all of these will help you create
lifelike
characters who are interesting. So yeah, very, very brief, quick kind of bit
101 on how to write characters.
Yeah. Hopefully that helps. Anyway, we'll go way deeper into that in the future. For now, thanks for joining us for this mini podcast.
It's not a mini podcast, but thank you for joining us again this week. Yes, and we will see you next time.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.